when you enjoy what you're doing, but you don't love it anymore. And, I found myself a little bit complaining about it, And after like a few years of it, I was thinking either I do something about it or I just need to...
This is the Charlotte Business Podcast booth. I'm CJ Williams. We are at the Charlotte Business Owners Networking event here in Uptown Charlotte. Be sure to check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube as well. This interview is brought to you by Podcast Titans, where they help you plan, produce, and publish your podcast, video podcasting. Visit podcasttitans.com to learn more and get your podcast produced. I am joined by Miss Celine. She speaks French. She was trying to impress me with her accent. I was
Bonjour.
like, you don't have to. See, look, there we go. What are you doing here, Miss Celine?
I own an art studio here in Charlotte.
Tell me about this art studio. What about it? What's special about it?
It's special because we basically teach people how to create their own art. So it's like very beginner friendly, and we specialize in fluid art, which is the concept of paint pouring as opposed to painting with a brush. So you can do that on different mediums, that it be canvases, the figurine like the bears, you may have seen that around, or even charcuterie boards with matching wine glasses.
You guys hold paint and sips and things like that?
Yes, we do have actually the wine permit. So and we also offer BYOB.
Okay. How long have you had the studio?
About a year. We celebrated the 1 year anniversary on Valentine's Day.
All right, and it's in University? It's in University, right?
Yes, Mallard Creek, and I'm in the process of rebranding. So stay tuned for the name.
Okay, so it's going to be a different name?
A different name, completely different name, but the same great services, experiences, and trying to branch out a little bit more, like working with other business owners, businesses, collaborating with artists. So.
Okay. So when you said collaborating with other businesses, what type of businesses?
So some artists, like in terms of workshops. So when they want to do, they need a space, to do their workshops. And for businesses, when they have for fundraisers, for other different events that they may have. Because we also do corporate events, team building events. We also go off-site and host large events also.
So what's the biggest change you're going to implement?
So it's going to be like I was saying, more partnering with other businesses, opening the studio for rentals. If people want to host events.
So you weren't able to do that before?
No, that's not something that I was doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I could probably have done it, but I wasn't doing that. So doing that and fundraisers, doing more events like that.
So when you were operating under the franchise, what was the biggest moneymaker?
You mean in terms of experiences? I mean the classes, or
what was bringing in the most money?
Actually the patch party, which is still the case now, because it's a very popular class. People like to be creative and to do that with their hats or tote bags.
Tell me more about that. What is that exactly?
So basically, we have a lot of hats at the studio also, because it's not just painting or resin art. It's also the patch party. So you have a hat or tote bag, and we have a large collection of patches, embroidered patches. So people come and you can basically decorate your hat with those patches.
Okay, cool. So what do you think once you now that you're going independent? What do you want to be your biggest moneymaker?
Corporate events, team building events, large group events. I'm starting, to do more of those events. I have one, for example, on Sunday for 200 people, but I want to have more of those. And really being able to bring the art to people. So that it's available to everybody. So that's what I'm looking for, to partner with corporations.
Because that's where the money is, corporate.
Yes, it is. And in general, large events. Because, for example, the Hornets have been requesting some quotes last year for an event that they were planning on having. So those type of events, it would have been for 300 or 500 people. So yes, those type of events. That's what I'm going for.
How many people can you have in your facility?
In the studio, about 20, 22. Yes. So
But you travel to do the corporate events.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, sometimes, the corporations have events and they come for team buildings and they come to the studio, but it's smaller group, like about 20. But then when it's for like larger events, then I go there. I went to Bank of America to, like the Charlotte, the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
So, how many people on your team? Is it just you, or do you have a?
No, I have, because I don't teach actually. I'm basically manage. I own it.
So you're not an artist?
Huh?
You're not an artist?
Well, now I am.
Okay, now you
now
are.
I am, yes. But no, otherwise, I'm a lawyer by trade.
Okay.
So it was a very huge transition for me, to go from being an employee to being an employer, and to going from corporate America to, being a business owner in the art industry.
So you say you are a lawyer.
Yes.
What type of law? What?
Financial law. So I was negotiating financial contracts.
Wow, that's a quite a difference to go from being a lawyer where you have you can potential to earn lots, to being a business owner to where you don't know
Yes,
what's going on.
That's true.
What went into that decision?
When you enjoy what you're doing but you don't love it anymore, and I found myself a little bit complaining about it, and after like a few years of it, I was thinking either I do something about it or I just need to so I decided to do something about it, and I wanted to do something that would be having a more I would say larger impact on people, like in people's life, because nothing wrong with that, but negotiating financial contracts, for like banks to make more money doesn't really impact people in any ways, right? But seeing the joy that people have when they create something that they actually love and they didn't think they would be able to make it, that is so rewarding. So I would do that all over again.
That's cool. So I know you're in the middle of transitioning to independent, but if somebody were to reach out to you now, how do they find you? I want you to look in the camera and tell them how they can find you.
So we are at the Mallard Creek Shopping Center. It's 2121 East Arbors Drive in Charlotte. And otherwise, you can find us at Hawaii Fluid Art, Northeast Charlotte. That's our website. Or on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. And it's going to be Hawaii Fluid Art, Northeast Charlotte.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate
You're
your time.